I want to welcome everybody to the 32nd Annual Tucson Indian Center Job Fair. This year we're having to do things a little different for obvious reasons. But I was asked to give a little bit of history of our job fair, how it began, and what's brought us to this year's event. 32 plus years ago, the Indian Center, on its primary involvement with employment and training, put together a group of employers, community members to come up with a mechanism to provide employment and training information to the community. With that idea, and as we moved along months in the planning, we decided that instead of going individually to employers in different clusters of employment, that we would solicit employers to come and meet with us in a venue where we could invite the general public to the event and provide employment and training information and opportunities. Since then, we've each year we've gotten to the point where we critiqued each event, what went well, what could be improved, what didn't go well. And we took it out to the community to try and look at what's going to be the best avenue where you can have exposure to several types of employers and be able to present resumes or provide applications and meet with employers on a one-to-one basis. So each year, as we critiqued the following year's event, we started to draw more and more employers to our event, and it became a real challenge logistically to provide opportunities to get the word out to the community overall that this type of an event was not just for the Native American community, but it was for all of the community of Tucson and Pima County to be able to come in and do what we just knew what needed to be done to help strengthen our economy and allow community members to express themselves directly one-to-one again. And it started getting better and better and better. We started drawing more employers to not just the events themselves, but to our advisory groups to help the planning. We had several ideas that came up, some what-if scenarios that we could consider. And it slowly evolved into a event that kept growing. As we look at 2002, as we looked at 2000, when we were at the 30th, the number of people that were becoming involved, the number of employers that were participating with us, the satisfaction that we were getting by partnershiping with employers that made our jobs as the prime sponsor a little easier. And with that, made it it almost moved on its own. And things that we were doing were really having a positive effect. As our economies changed over the years, we had to be able to be flexible to try and address those needs. But then as we evolved again for the following years, again, it just became a real worthwhile event that promoted employment and opportunities for community members to become involved, to participate, and assist not just the Indian Center again, but the overall economy of Tucson and Pima County. And this has been a real reward for us. Again, this year, because of the pandemic, again, we have had to come up, the committee has had to come up with some unique ideas about still being able to offer the opportunities to the community, and still continue to work on strengthening the community to provide opportunities with virtual images that would still be available for the community to become involved and still know that the Tucson Indian Center is still there. And we're very proud of a lot of things that we've still been able to do besides the pandemic having an effect on overall programs. The Job Fair, again, as far as the 32nd year, is one of the longest running job fairs for a nonprofit organization here in Tucson. So we look forward to your participation. We look forward to more years to come. We know, again, that things will continue to change for us, but yet we still want to be able to offer this to the general community, and we hope that you're all able to participate as best you can. Thank you.
Greetings from the Tucson Indian Center, and welcome to the 2021 Diversity Career Fair. My name is Jacob Bernal, and I serve as Executive Director of the Center. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, this year's event will be held virtually. The pandemic has had a devastating effect on the Indian community. This includes dramatically increasing the unemployment rate, increasing the poverty rate, and also increasing the homeless rate. And for some, this has even resulted in the loss of loved ones. The Tucson Indian Center works diligently to provide quality client services that will help our community recover and move forward from this pandemic. But most of all, we offer a sense of hope that tomorrow will be a better day. Your participation in a Diversity Career Fair as an employer or as a job seeker helps to instill that sense of hope that we can, working together, make a difference. Over the years, the Diversity Career Fair has provided hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of jobs, training opportunities, education opportunities, and this in turn has helped to strengthen our community to make it the best it can be. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all those individuals and organizations that made this event possible. This includes, but is not limited to, the Southern Arizona Indian Workforce Development Council that has worked very, very hard over the past year to plan and organize this event. This also includes the corporate sponsors that have provided the financial support and underwriting to make this event possible. And lastly, but not leastly, is all the employers and job seekers that are participating in this year's event. In closing, I'd like to thank everybody for being here today and for celebrating diversity and inclusion. Working together, we have truly made a difference. I ask that you please stay safe and healthy. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. My name's Jerry. Today I'm honored to introduce our singer, Shania Manyo. She's the current Miss Hikwan Chukshan, and she's from the village of Sobidak on the Thonautam Nation. She'll be doing our blessing and our honor song today. It's a privilege to have a young woman do our blessing and honor song today for our job fair. She is very talented and she loves to sing, and this is Shania Manyo. Thank you.
Skikdash, Anyab Chigik Shania Emmanuel, and I am the current reigning Miss Hikwan Chikshan. Today I stand before you all to ask for blessings and protection, and to ask the Creator for extra blessings and protection for everyone who worked on this job fair event today. The song that I will be sharing with you all today talks about the sunrise meeting the sunset underneath a beautiful sky with good thoughts. Please remember that one small positive thought can change your whole day. Nya kui ka sisi kori wo poi shai kod nya wa mama sisi kori wo poi nya kui ka sisi kori wo poi shai kod nya wa mama sisi kori wo poi nya kui ka da kasiari katonari kima hudunya tonari kiwam apoy ma kan hutam kan chivacho javan sedavananam dang wushang hiskak tonarik apoy ma nya kui ka sisi kori wo poi shai kod nya wa mama sisi kori wo poi nya kui ka sisi kori wo poi shai kod nya wa mama sisi kori wo poi nya kui ka da kasiari katonari kima hudunya tonari kiwam apoy ma kan hutam kan chivacho javan sedavananam dang wushang hiskak tonarik apoy ma nya kui ka sisi kori wo poi shai kod nya wa mama sisi kori wo poi nya kui ka sisi kori wo poi shai kod nya wa mama sisi kori wo poi nya kui ka da kasiari katonari kima hudunya tonari kiwam apoy ma kan hutam kan chivacho javan sedavananam dang wushang hiskak tonarik apoy ma nya kui ka sisi kori wo poi shai kod nya wa mama sisi kori wo poi nya kui ka sisi kori wo poi shai kod nya wa mama sisi kori wo poi nya kui ka da kasiari katonari kima hudunya tonari kiwam apoy ma kan hutam kan chivacho javan sedavananam dang wushang hiskak tonarik apoy ma. Sapol. Thank you.
Greetings. My name is Dr. Mark Vitale. I'm the Campus and Academic Director for the University of Phoenix, Southern Arizona campus. I'm also Chairman of the Workforce Investment Board here in Pima County. And it is my great pleasure to welcome you to the 31st Annual Diversity Career Fair from the Tucson Indian Center, as well as many of our local media and corporate establishments. So welcome to this amazing event. Over the next several days, you will have the opportunity to interact with a multitude of individuals and organizations based all throughout Southern Arizona who are looking for talented, exciting professionals just like yourself. And so it was my great honor to be asked to speak, to provide the keynote address for this year's event. And I couldn't be more honored and pleased to do so. Thank you for taking the time to be a part of this event. I know that it will absolutely be a significant life-changing event for you, whether you are looking for your first job, looking for your next job, or simply thinking, what else is out there that I might be interested in? There is something for you at this event, and I encourage you to invest the time to explore the options, discover the opportunities, and enrich your own personal network. So today I just wanted to say a couple of words about the career search. What is a career? What makes a career? It's not a job. A job is something you go to and you put in your time and you do tasks and you get your paycheck or some sort of compensation, whether it's experience or networking, but most often a paycheck. And that's it. You do that for a while and then you move on to another job. Well, what makes that different from a career? Don't you do the same thing in a career? Of course you do. A career is made up of jobs, but a career is a lifelong experience. It is a trajectory that you take, your journey throughout your professional life. Who and what are the skills that define you? Not a position, not a title, not a series of accomplishments. A career is a forward-looking journey. And so I wanted to talk to you today about careers and how you can take where you are, whether you are just in a job, looking to start a career, or already in a career. What can you do to make that experience better? How can you get fulfillment out of a lifelong professional trajectory? And that's something that I think a lot of us in our own careers reflect upon and think about and look forward to. And it's not always an upward path. It's not always a forward moving path. There are days when we are surging ahead and we think, hey, we're on top of the world. And then there are other days when perhaps we are not moving forward. Perhaps we're stuck. Perhaps we are staying stationary, or even worse, perhaps we feel like we are moving backwards. But a lot of that is about our own perceptions. And when we feel like we are not moving forward, or we feel like we're moving backwards, more often than not, that is a misperception of our own self. Many times in my own career, which has changed over the course in terms of jobs and disciplines and industries that I've worked in, my own career has been forward moving across many different industries. And every time you switch industries, it feels like perhaps you're starting over. You're not as experienced, you're not as knowledgeable. And for discipline-specific types of things, perhaps that's in fact true, but you're never not moving forward. As long as you think in terms of forward momentum, how do I take who I am and what I've discovered, and how do I apply that moving forward to what I want? My career started out on an educational path as an undergrad. I was thinking that I was going to be a doctor, a medical doctor. Now, I eventually did become a doctor, a PhD, Doctor of Philosophy, which is an ability to discover and create new knowledge from research, but different than a medical doctor. So my undergraduate degree was in the sciences. And fairly quickly on, I discovered that perhaps wasn't where I wanted to be. I looked at others in my classes and in my laboratories, and I discovered that they were having a whole lot more fun than I was. And I wondered why that was. I wondered why it was such a struggle for me to engage in this coursework, in this discipline. And being young, I figured, I'd fall into it. Let's just keep going. And by the time I was able to do some critical self-reflection on why I was feeling the way I was feeling about this material, it was a little bit late in the game, and I didn't want to course correct. I also did not want to have a career in the sciences. I found that just wasn't, at that point in my life anyway, that wasn't of interest to me. So I did finish that degree. I did earn my bachelor's of science in biochemistry, and I have never actually worked a day in a biochemical field. And to truth, I don't remember all that much, although I can still toss out a few concepts here and there. But the real important material, the real important change that occurred was that I learned about the scientific method. I learned about the philosophy and the mentality of being a meticulous, skeptical scientist, right? Question everything, validate and verify with multiple sources. And that particular skill set, that has been so useful, so tremendously powerful for me, regardless of the discipline that I've worked in. As an undergraduate, I actually did spend a summer at Disney World, and that was my first job. And I was able to leverage that after graduation into marketing positions within the travel and tourism industry, even without much experience in the travel and tourism industry. Why? I had a dream. I had truly found that I aligned with the idea of providing people with a magical vacation experience. And that resonated with me. And so I took these skill sets that I learned in my undergraduate degree, and I was able to actually leverage those into a career that had nothing to do with my undergraduate degree. But wait, does a career mean that you're going to work in the same industry forever? Our careers could span 20, 30, 40, even 50 years in some cases. We are living longer and working harder and longer. So the question is, do you have to do the same thing forever? Perhaps just assuming more responsibility, right? You start in a frontline position and you move up to perhaps a supervisor, then a manager, then perhaps a director, vice president, and then some executive leadership. And that's one pathway, but it's not the only one. And my career has been earmarked by change, by moving into things that interest me, that stimulate and stoke those fires that demand new knowledge, that demand learning. That's what motivated me. So I went back to school and got my master's as I was continuing working. And then I realized, just through a series of happy accidents, that I really enjoyed teaching. So it wasn't just that I enjoyed helping people experience a wonderful vacation or a great experience, whatever that service industry was, but I really liked helping people discover new things and accomplish things of significance in their life. And so lo and behold, I landed in higher education, first as a faculty member, and then eventually as an administrator. And I've been doing that now for over 20 years. And in the middle of that, I did go back to school once more and earn my doctorate degree. And my gift to myself, clearly I'm an educational nerd, was to pursue another passion of mine. So when I graduated by defending my dissertation, my gift to myself was to start pilot training. Flying had always been a passion of mine, but only as a spectator. And so finally I came to the realization, hey, it's time to get this done. And since then I've leveraged that into a secondary career, merged with my interest in teaching and instruction to become a flight instructor. And so where does my career go next? That's the beauty and the excitement of it, is it could go wherever I want it to. So I wanted to talk about three parts to what I feel are the quintessential elements of a job search, or rather not a job search, but the development of a career, your career. And your career looks very different, or should, than my career, than all of your friends and family. Why? Because it's you. And so those three things are to dream big, to plan well, and to work hard. Now, those sound like really big, fluffy, pie in the sky types of phraseology, but let's take a look deeper at perhaps what each of those means. This is your career. As I said, it doesn't match anybody else's. It shouldn't. It should be a reflection of you, your inner self, your desires, your dreams, your interests, your wants. And remember, those change over the course of a life. So to lock yourself in when you're 20 or 30 or even 40 and say, this is what I'm doing for the rest of my life, that's a mistake, I feel. And I certainly haven't followed that pathway, and I encourage others to not. So what I recommend you do first is to dream big. We all have dreams. We all have things that we love doing that just drive our passion and our excitement and our interests. Those are the types of things that we should think about. What do we dream big about? If we were doing whatever it is we wanted to do, what would that be? In other words, how do you live a fulfilling life? Life is too short to do things that you don't want to do. Now, that doesn't mean that you step aside from your responsibilities as a citizen, as a family member. We want to integrate the idea of being a provider, earning a good living, but integrated with the things that drive you. What are your passions? What is the course that you want to chart? So I was hired initially to teach marketing because I was in a marketing capacity within the travel and tourism industry with Disney and with hotels and some other organizations, museums and whatnot that I worked for. So I was hired to teach graduate level marketing. Along the way, including the development of my skill set within the data sciences and statistics, I transitioned from teaching marketing and then leadership and management ultimately into becoming a data sciences faculty, which is interesting because as a younger person, math wasn't my thing, right? I did not align well with the quantitative subjects, the sciences, none of that. But here I am teaching statistics, and I teach it in various disciplines, including human services, business, nursing. So don't limit yourself in your dreams. If you believe in something, if you feel passion for something, whether it's a new dream or it's a decades-old lifelong dream, find out what that is. Give yourself the gift of reflecting and identifying what is it that you dream big about? What is it that is going to drive your passion? Because that is what is going to be the foundation for your career. So you want to dream big. After spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to get all of my perfect academic credentials, what do? I divert off to the side and spend another $75,000 for my pilot ratings. Not because it's going to increase my earning potential, not because I didn't have opportunities within the academic space that I had already carved for myself, but because I simply loved airplanes and I simply love flying. And I simply love helping teach people how to do the things that I love. And when you're with people who love the things that you love and you are synergized and integrated and moving together to a better outcome around those things, life is a wonderful thing. Even if there are some days where you're down, your life, your career, your forward moving is beautiful. So don't be afraid to dream big and act upon your dream. So after you dream big, everybody's got dreams. What next? Well, dreams without a plan are simply that, dreams. And we want you to be able to take your dreams and translate them into a reality. Not just any reality, not somebody else's reality. We want them to be your reality. So you must plan well. You start with your dream and dreaming big, but you must plan well. So what does that look like for a career? Well, we group different jobs and industries into what we call disciplines. And so if you want to move yourself in a certain direction, it's incumbent upon you to understand everything there is to know about that discipline, about that industry, about that company that you've always dreamed about working for or with. Or perhaps you've got a wonderful idea and you want to set off on your own and you want to bring something into the world, and that is your dream. And all of those are wonderful things. There is no wrong dream, but you need to be able to now plan around that dream to make it a reality. So what is going on in the industry where your dream fits most closely? What are the types of technology that is being used? What sort of resources are being deployed? What sorts of skill sets are important? What kind of network can you develop? This is all of the exciting things that you can explore and discover about the space in reality where your dream exists. And it's not work because you love your dream and you love the space that your dream exists in. And now you're finding out more and more and more about your dream. Researching this pathway, understanding what is important to others who share your dream is so critical because you are aligning yourself with the reality where your dream can exist. Uh, and whether you are looking for your first job or looking for your 50th job, you have a skill set. You've developed a skill set through school, through life, through prior work, through interactions with your friends and family. These are all things that help define you, who make you who you are. And those skills and those talents, well, those are things that are important and can be used to develop into the new dream that you want to develop. Uh, but you have to think about and reflect on, how do you take what you do and how do you make that into something that somebody else can value and evaluate as critical for their own mission? So take some time to identify and write out what your skill sets are and how those translate into your dream career. So, for example, I had a pretty solid methodology for processes and flows and quantitative assessment. And I was able to leverage that into a strength to be a pilot because everything about flying, safe flying, is about a standard operating procedure. It's about doing your homework ahead of a flight and learning everything there is to know about your planned flight, your airplane, your route, your crew, your passengers, airports along the way. Should your equipment stop functioning, nobody ever hopes for that, but it could possibly happen. Or if you run into unforecast weather that you just can't get through, where are you going to go? And it's better to figure that out before you leave the ground than up in the air when you need it. And so the same skill set that helped me be successful in the sciences, even though I felt that wasn't a thing of mine, later on it turned into something that was effective when I started teaching statistics, and then really impractically applicable when I became a pilot and then later a pilot instructor. And I've had to use that very skill set in some critical scenarios. I was teaching a student once, and we went on a long cross-country flight. That was part of the requirements of their training. And the day that we left, there was a lot of bad weather. We had planned to go north, but a winter storm had blown in, and where we were going, Flagstaff and the Grand Canyon, were having blizzard conditions. So we said, we don't want to go there. So we looked to, we knew that was coming a few days before, so we changed. So we said, let's go west. Let's go to California. Well, another Pacific storm was blowing in by the day of the flight. And California was experiencing icy conditions and heavy winds and rain. And so we said, let's not go there either. But if we went east, well, east was great. We got ahead of the weather about 100 miles to the east of Tucson, and everything was great. The problem is, coming back, we had to come back through that same weather. And because of winds, the flight coming back was taking us a lot longer. And it was after dark, and so we couldn't see weather anymore. Now, we had instruments and weather radar on board the aircraft, but ultimately we did hit weather at night that was just not something that our plane's performance was capable of handling. Obviously, this could be a terrifying situation, especially for a student, but for any pilot. But luckily, we had planned ahead. We knew exactly where we were. We went from having a training lesson to two pilots working the flight, working with air traffic control to replan our route of flight to the nearest airport outside of the weather. And we were able to get that aircraft on the ground safely. And we ended up changing our plan. Rather than coming back to Tucson in the same day, we actually ended up staying overnight in a small town in New Mexico, which was very, very hospitable to two poor pilots that had been blocked by a line of unforecast thunderstorms. But the real important thing is that we worked hard, we planned hard, and the flight was successful and safe as a result of that. So we took the skills that we had developed elsewhere. We leveraged them and translated them into something effective, and we made sure to plan effectively. Now, that's a microcosm example, but you can expand that process to the entire career field, all your career trajectory over a lifetime. The same things work. What do you do well? How do you merge that with what do you love to do? And how can you develop a plan around keeping those things relevant and keeping yourself current, whether it's current with your network, current with your knowledge, current with the technology that you use. All of these things are things that you can do and should do as you develop your plan. And finally, remember that your plan doesn't need to be static. Today, the plan works. Maybe 6 months down the road, maybe 6 years down the road, maybe 10 years down the road, you've decided it's time for a different plan. That could be perhaps because of some external thing. Perhaps you need to move to a new location. Perhaps there's new technologies coming on the horizon. Or perhaps you just are at a different place in your life and you have interests elsewhere. You want to do different things. And all of that is okay. The same steps apply. Step 1, dream big. Step 2, plan well. And of course, that brings us to step 3, which is work hard. Nothing happens by accident. And nothing happens because you're so talented that it all arrives at your doorstep. Rejection and failure, those are not great words. They are descriptive of an action that is done to you, but in the end, they're really opportunities. They're opportunities for you to say, what can I do differently? Where do I need to put some focus? We should always be learning. One of the things I love about working in higher education is that we're working in an environment where everybody is always dynamic and always saying, what is the next thing that I can do? After every class, I evaluate and say, well, what did I do well? What did not go the way that I planned? Not that I didn't do it well per se, but what didn't go the way that I planned? And usually that's looking at the results of the students, not what I did. I can say, yeah, I lectured for 25 minutes and it was awesome and I brought out all the content. And then I look out at the students and they're all on their phones on Facebook. And I'm like, whoa, I didn't get anybody engaged whatsoever. Why not? And so while I might have done the exact thing that I intended to, and I did it well, the end result was different than what I had hoped. So you reverse engineer that, right? If the end result isn't what you want, that's okay. Doesn't mean you did anything wrong. It just means perhaps you need to have a different approach to get the thing that you want. And we learn what that is through trial and error. So the more times you are quote unquote rejected, or the more times you quote unquote experience failure, I say great. I say that you can wallpaper your wall with all the emails of perhaps interview rejections that you've received. And you know why? Because from each of those is an opportunity for you to think, what can I do differently? And the more that you do that, the more flexible and dynamic you are in your approaches, the more successful you're going to be. Nobody in history who you can think of ever arrived at the success that they're remembered for on their first step, or even their 5th step, or even their 10th attempt, or even their 100th attempt. True story. And I'll tell you this because I worked for the Walt Disney Company, so we learned all about our founder, Walt Disney, the man. Well, Walt Disney experienced so much failure throughout his life that if it's even brought up now, it's talked about in an amusing, anecdotal way. The Disney Company today is a leading industry driver of content, of distribution. Raise your hand if you have a subscription to Disney Plus, right? 100 million people in this country do. But that is not where the Disney Company started. In 1919, Walt Disney was fired from his job as a cartoonist by saying he had no imagination and he had no ideas. And yet, fast forward from 1919 to 1938, less than 20 years down the road, and he was hailed as a visionary artist, one of the few of the modern era for pioneering the first feature-length animated film. But along the way, he still had many successes and he had many failures. Mickey Mouse was created because he lost the original character, the rights to the original character that he created, Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. Oswald the Lucky Rabbit was so successful that Walt Disney's distributor, the company that put the Oswald cartoons into the theaters stole it, and they stole it legally. And Disney no longer could use Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. So what did he do? He created a new character, Mickey Mouse. Now, if you ask your kids, Mickey Mouse, Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, who are they going to gravitate to? They're all about Mickey Mouse. So failure is a part of the process, and we should embrace it, and we should welcome it. We should never fear it. In fact, we should be excited for it because it is an opportunity to continue to change and grow. And that is about what working hard really brings home. We have to try and re-engineer and try again, and sometimes reinvent ourselves. And we should never be afraid to embrace that. And we should say that a job search is not something that we want to engage in. We want to engage in a career search that has jobs. But that in and of itself, that career search, that is a job. Taking the time to develop your brand, to develop your advertising materials, right? Your resume, your elevator pitch. Those are all things that take time to develop and polish and test and refine. So all those things that you might do professionally in a job, you want to do for yourself. And that's a part of your working hard phase. Create your resume, create your elevator speech, practice interviewing questions with friends and family who are going to give you real solid feedback. The beauty about feedback, as we say in college, is we all have an opinion. Take the opinions that you value and that you agree with and discard the rest. Don't dwell on it. Don't think, oh, I'm never going to get this because I'm not there yet. That's the key. You're not there yet. Where do you want to go? Know where you want to go. Dream big, plan well, and work hard to get there. And if you're not quite there yet, if you're not satisfied with where you are or what you're doing, you just have to remind yourself that you're not there yet. And by saying that, you are empowering yourself to think about what is your pathway to your dream? How does that look logistically, realistically? And then ultimately, roll up your sleeves and get to work and make your plan happen so that you can embrace and live your dream and live your fulfilling life. And so that is the opportunity that exists for you as a part of this annual Diversity Career Fair. It's the opportunity to say, what is my dream? And then go out and find people within this virtual, exciting, dynamic space who have a similar dream. Find those people, connect with those people, and talk to them about your plan and convince them through your deeds, through your experiences, through your character, that you are willing to work hard to make that dream come to fruition. And the success that you will experience will be like nothing you have experienced previously, because it's not about a job and it's not about a paycheck. It's about the life that you choose to live. And nobody can tell you what kind of life to live. Everybody has an opinion on it. Everybody has an evaluatory perspective. But at the end of the day, you can choose the life that you want to live. And what an amazing, empowering perspective to have in an incredible time where, like no time in history, we believe that that is true for every single American. So I encourage you to find that courage, dig deep and dream big, and then plan well around that dream to make that dream become a reality, and then roll up those sleeves and let's get to work. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for having me spend a few moments of your busy day to share with you a few thoughts on what a career is and some of the successes and challenges that I've experienced throughout my career. I wish you nothing but the best for your own, and let's dream, plan, and let's get to work. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Stella Tureen, and I'm from the Tucson Indian Center, and I represent the WIOA program. And the WIOA program stands for Workforce Investment Opportunity Grant. And this program is for the low-income Native Americans. And we open the doors for all the Native Americans to come and join us and we help them with applications, resumes, and we want to make sure that we help each and every one that comes through that door and that qualifies for our program. Once they qualify, we search for employments with them, and when they get their job, we offer them social service, meaning we can help them with rental services and electric, clothing, and all the goodies that come in our packet with helping our Native Americans. And a lot of them are really doing so well in our program. So we want to really take the opportunity to reach out there for those clients that need our assistance, and we have our doors open for anything that they wish to come in so we can help them. And we want to thank you all for giving us this time to hear our voice for the Tucson Indian Center. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Tiffany Santamaria. I was born and raised in Tucson, Arizona. I'm the new Case Manager Outreach Specialist for the Tucson Indian Center. I will be working closely with Stella and Jerry for the WIOA program. I will be working with them in finding employers for training for employment for our Native American clients. And I will be also assisting them in completing assessments and sending job referrals for our clients. And also assistance for our clients financially, such as rental, electric bill, car, and other financial assistance. Thank you.
Skugdash, Hanin Yapjogik Jerry Romero, Amjit Don Autumn Nation. Good day, everyone. My name is Jerry Romero, and I am the Intake Supportive Case Manager for the Social Service Department at the Tucson Indian Center. So what I do in my capacity is I help clients in the Tucson area find jobs, do help with resumes, and also try to encourage our community to better themselves here in the Tucson area. Yes, during this COVID pandemic, we're having issues, but to help our clients better themselves, we try to send emails, correspondence with telephone, emails, as well as trying to do care packs for our clients that are participating in our program. So again, that's what I do here for the Tucson Indian Center, as well as try to help all our other communities and work with our employers here in the downtown area, as well in the tribal nations, which is the Pascoyaqui tribe and the Tohono Nation. So my name is Jerry Romero, and I'm the Intake Case Manager for the Tucson Indian Center. And thank you.
Good morning. My name is Esperanza Valenzuela, and I'm from the Pascoyaqui tribe. I am 60 years old, and I have 3 sons and 5 grandchildren. I was born and raised in Tucson, in southern Arizona. I have been a member of the Tucson Indian Center for about 20 years on and off. And I attended the leadership class, and I took that leadership class, what I was taught, and brought it to the community, because I volunteer a lot in the homeless community. And it taught me how to interact with the homeless people, and not to, it taught me a lot of things. And
hello, my name is Albert Baxter. I'm from Fort Yuma, Quechan, and Cocopah in Yuma, Arizona. After being released in 2018, I resided back here in Tucson to focus on recovery and moving on and leaving the past behind. Through the Tucson Indian Center, I was able to find resources that I needed in order for me to make my life more successful. With the help of the Tucson Indian Center, I was able to find recovery through Wellbriety. They provided me with opportunities that I couldn't have gotten through any other place, where I was able to complete my degree. One of the services that the Indian Center provided for me was the Social Services Department, where they provided me with anything I needed to find employment. And I mean everything from clothing to transportation to actual finding me locations where jobs were available. If it wasn't for the Social Services Department in Tucson, again, I am grateful for that department.
Hello, my name is Michael Spotted Wolf. I'm Seminole Creek in Hidatsa. I'm the finance director at the Tucson Indian Center. I was asked to sing an honor song, really like a prayer song for the center, our staff, our community, and the greater community at large to Tucson, Pima County. So I'm going to sing a song. It's about eagles flying in the air and how it's cool. That's the slang word for it, but it's like, I would say it's calming or it's encouraging. And I think that's what we need right now. And that's what this song is about, seeing those eagles flying in the air. They represent a vessel between us and the Creator. Under their own power, they're the ones that come up closest to the Creator, and they come down and provide us with wisdom, encouragement, things like that. So this song is in that manner. Wish everyone to feel that and take heart. We're going to get through this, and we're going to have better days ahead. Thank you. Well, I'm like this guy, hey,